Thank you for joining today's online travel presentation, where we're going to talk about why winter in the Canadian Rockies is best. My name is Lynn, and I am pleased to be one of your presenters today. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly take care of just a little bit of housekeeping. First, we're going to hold all questions until the end. So if you have questions during the presentation, just type them in the question box in the GoToWebinar toolbar, and we'll cover them at the end of the presentation. And second, we're going to have two polling questions, and I encourage you to participate. I really can't wait to see what you have to say. So let's get started. And first, as I mentioned, my name is Lynn. I'm your presenter from Vacations by Rail, and I am pleased to introduce our special guests, Ryan Rabutka from Via Rail Canada and Ryan Elliott from Travel Alberta. And you're going to hear from both of them in just a couple minutes. But before we talk about Canada's winter wonderland and why the Canadian Rockies is the best place for a winter vacation, I want to tell you a little bit about Vacations by Rail. We are the leading rail vacations company in the United States and the trusted authority on rail, with the largest collection of vacations to destinations around the globe. And the cornerstone of each itinerary is a rail journey aboard at least one iconic train. We are a great rail journeys company, which means we're backed by more than 45 years of experience in the specialty of global rail tours. We're also a member of the National Tour Association, American Bus Association, and we're AARP's preferred rail provider. And in addition to unmatched vacations, we offer best-in-class customer care from your first call or email to your return from your trip. So why take a winter rail vacation in the Canadian Rockies? First of all, it's a distinctive season, and a distinctive season definitely deserves a distinctive travel experience. And I think a rail vacation showcasing Canada's fantastic winter landscapes and wonderful resort towns, it just offers that. Western Canada is brimming with immersive experiences, some that are exclusive to winter. There's no better way to experience the season than all of the outdoor fun and cozy indoor activities that come with winter. And of course, a rail vacation is the epitome of experiential travel. It's a great way to get a new perspective on Canada and its fantastic landscapes, and it's made all the more special during the winter months. So, now it's time for us to get to know a little bit more about you. It's our first polling question, and I'm going to go ahead and launch it right now. It's how often do you vacation in the winter? So go ahead and select one of these responses. Your choices are one or more times each winter, I've vacationed in the winter, but not every year, and I've never vacationed in the winter time. So I'll keep this open for about 20 more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. It looks like everybody has had a chance to respond. And gentlemen, 61% of our attendees today have vacation in the winter, but not every year. So I think everyone's in a great place to learn more about winter vacations, specifically in Canada. So I'm going to turn things over to Travel Alberta. Mr. Elliott, it's all yours.
That's great. Thanks, Lynn. And thanks to everyone for joining today. Like Lynn said, my name is Ryan Elliott. I am the Business Development Manager for Travel Alberta. Yeah, I'm really happy you guys are spending some time today. And what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through my backyard, which is Alberta. I actually moved to Alberta for a winter season. I came out to see what the skiing was like after finishing university in Ontario. And that was about 20 years ago. I just never left. So fell in love with the province and fell in love with everything there is to do there. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with everyone today. So also just to kind of make sure everyone knows where Alberta is. We are due north of Montana. We're that one province in from British Columbia. Oops. Go. And just a couple things about Alberta. You know, we're really lucky. In Canada, we're the only province that only has one tax. We actually only have the government sales tax. So for those guests and for yourself that are coming through and, you know, doing an itinerary that goes through BC and Alberta, make sure to save all your shopping for our province. That way you'll save some money and you don't have to pay the extra tax. Um, Sometimes, you know, when you think about winter vacations, you think of it's going to be a little bit gloomy, it's going to be dark, it's going to be cold, but that's not the case in Alberta. We actually have the highest number of sunny days in the whole country with just over 300 each and every year. We like to call them those big bluebird skies in the mountains. So lots of opportunity to get a suntan even in those winter months. And I also just like to highlight the winter temperatures. Again, I know probably for some of those who traveled and have done a winter vacation, they've probably gone somewhere hot. And it's, you know, when you're thinking of doing something winter in winter, you know, there's the worry sometimes about the temperatures, especially when you're coming to Canada. But our temperatures aren't actually that bad. So the daily temperatures in that our coldest time of the year, from kind of December to February, sits between 5 and 23 degrees Fahrenheit, or -5 to -15. But I'd like to highlight with that, it's a different kind of cold. So unlike a Chicago or New York, where you get that bitter wet cold that kind of goes right through your body and right to your bones, we're actually a very dry climate, almost like a desert-like climate in Alberta. So the cold's actually really cold, really dry, which means it's much easier to layer up and to dress for it, and keep yourself warm when you're outside. We also get these things called Chinooks that blow through from the western or from the east across the prairies, and they bring with it a little bit of warm weather. So anytime we do get those little cold snaps and things dip down a little bit cooler, it's very short-lived, and all of a sudden we get some warm weather that comes through and warms things up again. And also, you know, we are in the Rockies. We get over 30 feet of snow each and every year between November and April, which means the skiing, obviously, in the province is phenomenal as well. All right, so just want to show you this map just super quickly, just so you've got references as to what we're going to be talking about today. Ryan's obviously going to highlight a little bit more of that trip from Vancouver all the way up to Jasper National Park, Edmonton, and then again beyond all the way across the country. And then for myself, I'm really going to be speaking to this corridor here, which extends from Jasper south through Banff National Park, Lake Louise, Banff, and then out to Calgary. Okay, so you know the one thing that's really changed in Alberta is our culinary scene. We used to really been, well, we are still really well known for our Alberta beef. We have phenomenal AAA Alberta beef, but over the last number of years, the culinary scene in Alberta has really skyrocketed, which means you're getting tons of farm-to-table experiences, phenomenal food, and what's really come to light is the exploration and the showcasing of some of our phenomenal foods opposed to beef. We have phenomenal bison as well, great root vegetables. We're the seventh largest producer of honey in the world. So you start to see those kind of ingredients included in lots of the culinary experiences as well. So as you travel through the province, there's no shortage of phenomenal culinary experiences to add to your vacation. Now, on top of that, we've also had this explosion of craft beer and spirits across the province too. So not only is these top chefs creating this phenomenal food, but we're having this real emergence of craft beer and spirits. And part of that's really coming from the fact that we've got phenomenal barley and hops and wheat in the province. And that gets combined with this glacier fresh water that's coming right from the glaciers in the mountains. So when those two elements are combined, the spirits and the beers that are being created are award-winning across North America and globally. So just I would highly recommend as you go through your travels through the province, be sure to drink something local, try a local spirit, try some local beer, and of course indulge in the phenomenal bits of culinary that we have on offer. And I would highly recommend as well, while you're here, to take advantage of some of the culinary experiences in Edmonton, in Calgary, and in Banff. Alberta Food Tours runs a food tour experience that actually allows you to go and sample multiple different restaurants, really experience those local flavors, that farm to table experience, and it generally combines that with some local craft beer or distilleries. And up in Jasper, Jasper Food Tours would be the one you'd use up there too. So definitely highly recommend combine any of your tour with that culinary piece as well. So let's talk about Jasper. Jasper is located in the northern part of central northern part of Alberta. It is the main stop for the Via Rail. As it comes through the province. And Jasper is really known for these big, wide open landscapes, beautiful mountain, vast landscapes in this beautiful valley. And in the wintertime, it just turns into a real magical winter wonderland, just like this skating experience out here in this photo. Now, Jasper, what makes it really special is it's actually known for its dark skies. So it's one of the, it's the second largest dark sky preserve on the planet, and the only one that actually has a town site right within the reserve itself. So this photo is not doctored. This is what the skies look like up here, and especially in the winter, they really come to life. So for your guests and for yourself, you know, if you're coming from especially the big cities like New York, Chicago, anywhere across the US where you don't really see too many stars, these will absolutely blow your mind, just with the vastness of the planets and the stars that are just at your doorstep. And you don't have to travel too far. You can actually just walk out your hotel room and see skies like this. At the Jasper Park Lodge as well, they have a planetarium where you can do an experience to learn more about the stars and the planets that you see as well. Now in Jasper, one of the best, one of my favorite properties, I think, in the province is the Fairmont Jasper Park Lodge. This outdoor hot pool is open year round, and it's a phenomenal place to rest, relax, and unwind. The rooms actually are dotted around this property, all around Lake Beauvair, in these little cabins. So you really have this cozy, snuggly little kind of getaway right in the heart of the Canadian Rockies, with these beautiful dark skies behind you, and then obviously access to just sitting back, soaking it all in the outdoor hot tub. I just want to touch on a few of my favorite activities to do while in Jasper too, and these are also part of a lot of the Vacation by Rail programs and the Via Rail packages. So one is the Jasper Skytram. This takes you up in a big gondola to the top of the mountain, looking down over Jasper, and you can see Jasper, quaint little town just off in the distance there. But again, a beautiful way to take in those skies. If you look to the sky, you can again just see the emergence of all the stars, planets, and galaxies out there as well. And then Moraine Canyon Ice Walk. This is a really special canyon. So in the summer, obviously, you can walk walk around the ridge of the canyon with some bridges that go over top of it. And in the winter time, you can actually walk right up the canyon itself. You see fossils embedded inside the rocks and these beautiful waterfalls that are kind of coming out from the canyon on all sides. This is about a 1.4 mile walk, 2.5 kilometer walk. And different tours are provided that provide ice cleats so you can easily walk on the ice here, but definitely a must-do experience when you're in Jasper in the wintertime. And at the end of an ice walk, located right at the heart of the entrance to it, is the Moraine Wilderness Kitchen. This is a brand new restaurant opened up just a couple years ago. Beautiful, cozy fire, fantastic food, great place to come in for a little charcuterie and some wine after you've been outside in the elements for a little bit. So that's the beauty of Alberta, I think, is the warmth that we get with winter, not only doing those outdoor activities, but also being able to complement that with some cozy experiences inside too. And Lynn mentioned there is some experiences that you can only do in the wintertime, and this is definitely one of them. So dog sledding, you can do up in Jasper as well in Lake Louise and in Banff. But this experience truly is something memorable. I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of these dog sleds take off. It's absolutely manic. So these dogs are just eager to go. They're chomping at the bit, jumping, ready to go, and they hit this fever pitch of barking and excitement before they go. So as you're sitting in the sled going, there's just this fever pitch just kind of hits this crescendo, and then all of a sudden they release the brake and the dogs go silent and take you off into the woods. And it truly is a phenomenal experience and one that you won't soon forget. So definitely add this to your list and to your bucket list when you're planning your trip to Alberta. Now from Jasper, we're going to head down to Lake Louise. So this Lake Louise is really known for being kind of a little bit of a quiet, romantic hamlet, especially in the winter time. And you know, the Chateau Lake Louise, one of the most iconic properties in Alberta, set along the shore of Lake Louise, and this whole area turns into a complete winter wonderland in the winter. So the beauty of the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise is the access to all the outdoor activities. And I just wanted to show this photo because they've just renovated the brand new lounge. They've got some beautiful new drinks that are associated with local beer and local spirits, and this little lounge here is only accessible if you're staying in the property itself. So they're really conscious of those guests that are paying to stay at the property. There's numerous areas within the hotel that are guests only, and allow you this really intimate experience, and with, again, beautiful views looking out over the frozen lake. But right at your doorstep at the Chateau Lake Louise is a number of outdoor activities. So first and foremost is skating. This is probably the most beautiful skating rink on the entire planet, right on the shore of Lake Louise. Now in the winter, they Zamboni out in front of the lake. They also sometimes will build an ice castle out there, and it's just a phenomenal experience. Now, if you I can't really show a video on this this webinar, but what I wanted you to do is please Google Paul Ziska Facebook. So Paul is a local photographer in Banff. This year, we've had some phenomenal skating where all the lakes have frozen over without the snow on top. And there's he's got images and videos skating on this crystal clear glass right at the Chateau Lake Louise, and then also in other places in the Rockies. So please Google Paul Ziska Facebook on your Facebook account, and take a look at some of his photos and videos. It'll truly blow your mind and kind of bring the skating in Alberta to life as well. Now, also at the Chateau Lake Louise is the Ice Magic Festival. So for so if you're looking at doing some travel in between January, February time, this is returning in January 2024, where these amazing ice sculptures are built and formed right on the shore of Lake Louise, and they stay there until about mid-February. So this just kind of really enhances your experience at the Chateau. And you can just Google the Ice Magic Festival to find out a little bit more and see dates with the train that align with it. But just if you're into ice sculptures and ice carvings, you can really see some amazing intricate designs that are done by world-class artists at the lakeshore. Now also in Lake Louise, just a couple of extra activities you can do. Like one is the Heritage Guided Snowshoe. So this is done with local guides from the Chateau Lake Louise. They'll take you out either cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, and talk to you about the area, teach you about glaciers, local wildlife, and any questions that you have at all. The sleigh ride as well. This is a great way to sit back, relax, let the horses do the driving, and have a real romantic trip to the back of the lake. This is something I highly recommend. Great way to see the scenery. It's nice and cozy and warm. But I also just want to highlight, you know, beside the horses there to the right-hand side, you can see some tracks. Now those tracks there are not only for walking, but there's also track set cross-country ski trails. So again, you can walk out right out your front door of the hotel, throw on some cross-country skis, and actually cross-country ski to the back of the lake as well. Now, from Lake Louise, being that kind of quiet, romantic, beautiful piece of property in Lake Louise, we come to Banff. So Banff is a little bit known a little bit more for its nightlife, more accommodations, restaurants, and its dining. So Banff actually, there's about 8,000 people that live there every year, or that live there year round. But we have about 4 million visitors that visit Banff each and every year, which means it's got this elevated number of accommodations. It's got this phenomenal choice of restaurants and dining experiences to be had as well. And the beauty of Banff is it's actually only about the downtown core is about 3 blocks long and about 2 blocks wide, which means on your trip, when you're looking around for places to dine, you're looking to your shopping with that reduced sales tax. It's really, really easy to get around Banff, and it's a very, very walkable town. Now, of course, in Banff is the iconic Banff Springs Hotel. This is our castle in the Rockies. And this place just turns into this, people call it kind of like a gingerbread snow in a snow globe in the winter, gingerbread house in a snow globe. Especially around Christmas time, it turns into the decorations are phenomenal, and the rest of the time in the winter, it's just one of the coziest places to be in the winter time. So just a really iconic property. If you can't stay there, you can also come through, do hotel tours, and walk through the property itself too. Like I said, Banff Avenue, really, really easy and walkable. I like to show this photo just so you can see this is, you know, all the stores lined up down the left-hand side here, the stores on either side, and very, very easy to walk around, and plenty of restaurants and shops to choose from. Now, one thing I always recommend to any guest who ever comes to Banff and visits is the Banff Gondola. This is the first thing I do with anyone who comes, and it's really just gives you this incredible 360-degree views of the mountains below. So it's a 12-minute ride up the gondola to the top of Sulphur Mountain, and then at the top there's lookout areas at the top. In the winter, little fireplaces you can see on the right-hand side. And I like to show this photo as well because if you look to the left, and there's that little mountain, Tunnel Mountain, in the middle between those other two mountains, and in front of that you'll see kind of what looks like a little town. That's the town of Banff. So again, not a huge town, but a lot packed into it. And I also just highly recommend as well is coming and dining when you go up to Gondola. So there's a new restaurant called Sky Bistro located right at the very top terminal. And again, as you can see from kind of the photos here, some of the most phenomenal views in all the Canadian Rockies. So definitely recommend while you're in town, this is a must-do experience, and highly recommend either coming here for lunch or for dinner. Now in Banff as well, between Banff and Lake Louise, and one of the excursions on through Vacations by Rail is Johnson's Canyon. So this is a really gentle walk that again goes through Johnson's Canyon. It's on an elevated footpath for most of it. So looking down at kind of the river that's still flowing below. Unlike Mullane Canyon, this doesn't freeze over completely, so you still have to be on these elevated walkways. But this trail takes you back to two phenomenal frozen waterfalls, and it's not uncommon to see ice climbers up and down the sides of the rocks, and still seeing the water flowing underneath the frozen waterfall in the front. A truly magical experience, and again, this is a must-do, I say, for anyone who's coming in to the Rockies in the wintertime, and definitely do it with a guide. So the guided experience, it takes you back. They provide cleats for your shoes, and then they'll point out all the little fossils and minerals and stuff that you'll see along the way. Truly great experience and a must do for sure. And then finally, you know, there's a lot of outdoor activity that I've talked about today, but at the end of the day, sometimes it's nice just to kind of kick back and relax. And one of the best places to do that is the Banff Upper Hot Springs. So these are the naturally fed hot springs pools in Banff. There's also a naturally fed a naturally fed Miette hot springs up in Jasper as well. But just wanted to show this photo as a place to come to relax, to get kind of rejuvenated by the sulfur waters and the minerals that are contained within it. And this again is just at your doorstep when you're in Banff. And that's kind of it for me, just as kind of a rough overview of all the activities, or my recommended activities anyway, while you're in Banff, Lake Louise, and through Jasper. So from that, I'm going to pass that on to Ryan from Via Rail.
All right, thanks, Ryan, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you're finding this informative, and we're going to potentially plant that seed to get you to come up to Canada and experience some of the things that we have, especially in the wintertime. So my name is Ryan Rabutka, and I'm with Via Rail Canada. Like Ryan, I'm also a market development manager and had the pleasure of working with Lynn and the crew at Vacations by Rail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a little bit of a walkthrough. We'll call it a site inspection in terms of the different services that we offer across Canada, but specifically the ones that are most relevant for the winter time. And actually, can I get control, guys, of the presentation? I think it's still with Ryan.
See if you can move it now. Try down here somewhere. There you go. Perfect.
All right, sorry. All right, so just a little bit of an overview about Via Rail. We are Canada's passenger railway system, and we run trains all across Canada. And in Canada, we have 3 coasts. We have the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. And we basically serve all 3 coasts and offer a combination of short and long distance trains to show off really all of the best of the Canadian scenery that we have. All right. Yeah, Lynn, it still says I think it's controlled by Ryan.
Go ahead and try that. Perfect.
All right. So I mentioned coast to coast service. All of the different colors that you see here really represent a different type of experience that we offer on board. And it's the red line, the Canadian, which really features our flagship experience and I think our very best leisure experience on a train called the Canadian. So I'm going to get to that in a moment. But before we get to that, I do want to just run through a part of the country in Eastern Canada, between Ontario and Quebec, that does feature a few different itineraries from vacations by rail. And this part of the country really services some of the larger, maybe more famous cities in Canada. So we've got Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City. And you know, the great thing about taking the train anywhere in the country is the fact that we'll do the driving, you do the relaxing, you enjoy the trip. But there's a lot of traffic in this part of the country, and the train provides a really great way to get from city to city without the hassles that you'd experience as you're going through airport security and things like that. So we service Toronto and the communities in between. And you know, in the winter, of course, the weather can be a little more unpredictable, and the train definitely is the safest way to travel in this part of the country. So quickly, in terms of what we offer on board, we have 2 classes of service. We have business class and we have economy class. So I think if you know the opportunity is there to treat yourself with the extra perks that come with business class, it's definitely recommended. And it's very similar to flying first class in an airplane. We have hot meal service at the seats served for our passengers, completely inclusive of all beverages, priority boarding, pre-boarding lounges, etc. So it's a great experience. And you know, no matter what class of service you're traveling in on the train, it's very comfortable. There's a lot of room, but we do provide even additional capacity, or sorry, additional leg room and space when traveling in business class. And our cars currently have a 1 seat or dual seat configuration on either side of the aisle. So for individual travelers, you can travel on your own, or of course, traveling with others, you can sit side by side. Now we also have, as I mentioned, the hot meal service included, and overall a really great experience to enjoy the corridor with our business class lounges. Now this is a lounge picture from the station in Toronto. And prior to boarding, the Canadian, so maybe traveling from Toronto all the way to Jasper, would also be an area where passengers can board before they jump on the Canadian with a departure in the morning out of Toronto all the way to Toronto and Vancouver. All right, and then economy class, you know, kind of the value option, still very comfortable with food and beverage available for purchase, and still very roomy on board the train as well. So whether you're in economy or business, as I said, it's still a very comfortable way to travel and experience those destinations in Eastern Canada. So I'm going to spend the rest of the presentation really spending time talking about the Canadian, which I said is our flagship train running between Toronto and Vancouver, with major stops in Edmonton and Jasper in Alberta. To do the entire trip on the Canadian, It's just shy of about 2,800 miles, and this trip takes 4 days and 4 nights. And what it really ends up becoming is essentially a land cruise. You're living on board the train, moving from car to car to car, the dining car, the lounge car, your private bedrooms, and of course showcasing the beautiful scenery. And I have to say, my favorite time to travel on the Canadian is the winter, and primarily, due to the scenery that you see, going through the Rocky Mountains, traveling from Vancouver into Jasper. The train really travels through a Christmas postcard. This time of the year, and actually in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be getting a lot of snow. I'm taking the train next Monday to Jasper, and I can't wait to see some of these views with the fresh snow laden on the trees. I also find the trains a little bit less busy in the winter, so you get a more intimate experience, which I love. This picture here is of the tallest peak in the Canadian Rockies. It's called Mount Robson. It's basically on the Alberta-BC border. And our schedule is designed to go in and through the Rocky Mountains during daylight hours. So even though you will sleep on this train, the schedule guarantees that you get to see views like this during daylight hours. And in fact, so this train is heading into Jasper. It's probably about 2 hours outside of Jasper. This is essentially the view that you'll wake up to in the winter as you're having breakfast in the dining car. So not a bad way to start the day. So just again, the Christmas postcard views and just a beautiful time to be on the train. So what does it look like on the train? That's what I'm going to show you now. And again, summarizing the trip. So even though the train travels between Vancouver and Toronto, you have the possibility of customizing the overall trip. You can be on the train for 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, or 4 nights. So there's a lot of different variations within the itineraries that Vacation Barrel has created, and Lynn will speak to those in a few minutes. There's also the choice from different classes of service. We have economy class. Sleeper Plus class is the most common class of service on the train. We have a first class section known as Prestige, and I'll jump into those now just to show you what it's like. So Sleeper Plus, as I said, this is the most common accommodation and level of service on the train. But even within Sleeper Plus, it is divided into different options, which helps us match potentially different travel budgets. And the entry level price point into Sleeper Plus would be something that we call berth. Berth class would have an upper berth and a lower berth. And during the daytime, these passengers would be sitting just kind of in the yellow section here. And as people walk through the car, they can see where these people are sleeping, because in berth, with it being the entry level price point, there is not privacy during the day. And this would be the configuration. So one passenger would be assigned to either one of those benches. But what happens at night is this bench will fold down to create the lower bed that we'll see here in a moment. And one upper bed comes out of the ceiling. And then those heavy canvas curtains are pulled over the area for the overnight period, providing privacy while these passengers are sleeping. So, like I said, not private during the day, but privacy at night, and a great way to experience the train. When these passengers are on board the train, they have the same experience as the passengers traveling in our private cabins. But as I said, it's just the entry-level price point onto the Canadian. One difference also with the berth accommodation is they would not have their own private toilets in their area, so they would be using the public restrooms that are just adjacent to the berth section. And then we're going to look at the cabins for two, which are really the most popular and numerous accommodation we have on the train. So this would be a completely private room with a door that locks from the inside, and these 2 large chairs would be the space that passengers would use and enjoy while the train's traveling during the day. But it is important to remember you don't spend a lot of time in your cabin when you're on the train, because you're using those social cars more so than your private room. There is a small water closet in the corner of the room that we see here, and then a large vanity, mirrored vanity with potable water, running water. So at the end of the day, it really becomes a mini hotel room. And whenever you have a bed on the train, whether you're in a cabin for 2 or in a berth, your meals are included in the dining car. So when passengers in this room are, say, in the dining car having dinner, our crew will come in and they do the turn down service to create a lower single bed and an upper single bed, which would then make up the sleeping area for the 2 passengers during the overnight period. Now, we also have the ability to welcome individual travelers on board the train without perhaps charging a supplement. And what we have here is the single cabin. So by day, we have a large love seat. This is a footrest or the rest of the toilet, a lid to the toilet. Keeping in mind, everything on the train is very compact, but it's very functional and very comfortable. This room, just like the cabin for 2, does have a sink with running water. These rooms also do have power, so if you have the CPAP machine or anything like that, rest assured you can bring that on board the train. And then what happens at night is the entire space really becomes the bed. So it's really a bed from head to toe. But again, very comfortable. And I like these rooms too because you're sleeping alongside the window. So you can just pop the window open and leisurely wake up and enjoy the scenery as it goes by. So in this car, everybody has access to one shared shower. And that would be available with onboard shower kits that we provide for passengers to bring with them into the shower. All right, so just a quick summary. Sleeper Plus cabins for 1 or 2 passengers are completely private. They do have ensuite toilets. You've got power in your room, and the turn down service is provided by our onboard crew while you're in the dining car. So the first class level of service that we have on the Canadian is called Prestige Class. Now, in the wintertime, we only have 7 bedrooms on a departure, so very limited inventory. Even in the summer, we only have 13. So there's not a lot of capacity in Prestige, but Vacations by Rail has exclusive access to Prestige throughout the year. And basically what this is providing is the best experience that we would have, I would say, of any overnight rail journey in North America, and one of the best around the world. So these are larger rooms to start with. So no longer do we have those single chairs. There's a large leather sectional couch, a much larger window to enjoy the scenery during the day. Flat screen television. People don't typically jump on the train to watch TV, but when it's dark in the evening, if you want to watch some preloaded content, we do have that available. And also, one of the most important things to know about a Prestige room is you have a private shower now in the room, en suite, with heated floors in the bathroom, a larger vanity. So a larger bathroom or restroom to get ready and have private showers without using that shared shower in the Sleeper Plus cabin. And at nighttime, sorry, just another shot here of the daytime configuration. But at nighttime, this room now provides a double or a queen size bed. So passengers don't have to sleep in the upper and lower beds. They have an opportunity to sleep side by side. And this is great because, again, if you imagine you're waking up in the morning, there's additional service. We have a concierge or almost like a butler assigned to these passengers. So both passengers can open the blind, look out the window together and start, a nice quiet morning, perhaps have some coffee delivered to their room and a light snack before they go to the dining car. But the ability for both passengers to sleep side by side and enjoy that view out the window is certainly a plus. And these rooms, because we're using a double-sized bed, really meant for couples or passengers that are comfortable sleeping side by side. Now, also within the Prestige part of the train, we have a dome car called the park car. And this would be the lounge area, one of 2 lounges. And this is available to all passengers in the winter time, but it is exclusive to Prestige in the summertime. So we've got the high top bar here. And in Prestige, I mentioned you have that concierge or butler assigned to the passengers or to you as you're traveling across the country. It's also completely all inclusive. So not only are the meals included like they are in Sleeper Plus class, but now the alcoholic beverages are also included. This is an area where our bartenders will make cocktails, martinis, things like that. And also every afternoon, there's a special snack that's delivered to the room of our Prestige passengers, or perhaps if they're up in the dome, they'll have a chance to enjoy things like candied salmon, smoked salmon, charcuterie plates. The snack varies by day. At the back of this dome car, we have another sitting area. Just again, an example of the opportunity that you have to get out of your room and enjoy these different public areas. And then of course the upstairs dome with this glass 360-degree view of the scenery as the train's traveling, to or from Jasper. Now, just to summarize, I mentioned we've got the dedicated service provided by our onboard staff. It is the first class section of the train, completely all inclusive. with the larger rooms, the private showers, and the afternoon snack, and kind of just the enhanced food and beverage experience is also something that these passengers really have a chance to enjoy. So the last part I wanted to show you is just some of the other social cars, and that would be our other dome cars and our dining cars. So we always have complimentary coffee, tea, juice available in the dome cars throughout the trip. The dining car is available on a reservation basis, and service starts in the dining car and in our dome car at 6:30 in the morning, and reservations are required for lunch and dinner. Breakfast is always at leisure, so you don't have to worry about getting out of bed at a particular time. And just keep in mind, the Canadian does not have Wi-Fi, but I actually think that's a great quality that we are able to share with our passengers in the experience, because you really have a chance to disconnect and make sure you're immersed in the experience instead of maybe connected to different parts of the world that aren't as relevant as the scenery and the experience on board the train. So here's the dining car. All of the meals are served in the dining car for Sleeper Plus passengers and Prestige passengers. We have chefs that live on board the train, and they're creating everything fresh from scratch. And you're ordering breakfast, lunch, and dinner off of a menu with 4 choices. Dinner can run from things like rack of lamb, smoked duck, prime rib, different pastas, seafood dishes. So it's a very extensive menu. And the nice thing if you're spending multiple nights on the train is the menu will change every single day, and you'll never have the same meal twice. So I mentioned we've got the chefs on board. And then we also have a few other dome cars that are available to Prestige passengers and our Sleeper Plus passengers. So these dome cars are kind of divided into 3 areas. We have a lounge section, then you can go upstairs to enjoy the dome itself. And I mentioned the domes are open 24 hours a day. I've seen the Northern Lights from the dome car. Definitely you'll see a lot of wildlife and of course the great views as the train is traveling across the country. The back section is where we would have different activities, maybe wine tastings, beer tastings, musicians may be on the train, complimentary coffee stations are back there as well. So there's lots of areas to enjoy the scenery and enjoy just the internal space on the train, in addition to, of course, looking out the window and enjoying the scenery there. I'm just going to show a video. I don't think we'll have sound, but just a quick little video about the experience on the Canadian. So sorry there wasn't any music I'd sing, but I'm not very good at singing, so I think it was better to enjoy it without any sound, but it gives you a bit of an idea. And like I said, the Canadian really is a land cruise adventure across Canada, and I hope you have a chance to experience it. So just very quickly, we have one other train. I'm only bringing this up because it is a winter destination. This is to Churchill, northern Manitoba. That would be the Arctic coast that I was mentioning. There's 2 different reasons to go up to Churchill. The Northern Lights season runs in February and March, and probably late fall, early winter, the polar bear season. And Vacation by Rail has a lot of great itineraries right across the country. But let's spend a little bit more time now with Lynn to understand all of the options that are available to and from Alberta. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. So thanks to Travel Alberta and Via Rail Canada, we've heard about the wonderful destinations, where to stay, and all of the really unique things to experience. And of course, the very best way to get there. So now how do we put it all together? A rail vacation with Vacations by Rail offers a really distinctive and memorable experience with a collection of itineraries packed with quality inclusions ranging from that iconic train journey I mentioned earlier to centrally located hotels, comprehensive sightseeing, including those really exclusive seasonal experiences. So while we have a collection of winter rail vacations in Canada, I want to quickly spotlight 4 of them for you, beginning with one of our customer favorites, Winter in the Rockies. So this is an 8-day independent rail vacation, which means everything is arranged for you, but you're traveling on your own following a well-planned itinerary. So this vacation begins here in Vancouver. And you'll spend one night there, but there's time to explore the city on your own. And then on day 2, you're going to board Via Rail's Canadian train for that classic overnight rail adventure to Jasper. Once in Jasper, you're going to have the opportunity to enjoy all the traditional winter activities of the region, or for a more structured experience, you can ask a rail specialist for a recommended guided excursion that they can add to your itinerary. So some of those popular excursions Ryan mentioned earlier is Moline Canyon Ice Walk, or maybe a wildlife spotting tour in Jasper National Park. So then that scenic motor coach transfer is going to take you first to Lake Louise and then on to Banff with a charming, Banff, as Ryan mentioned, is a charming town. It's going to be decked out for the holiday season, great for some shopping and dining, and of course, the Banff Gondola. So your vacation is going to conclude with that motor coach transfer to Calgary. And this vacation, it features stays in 4 outstanding Fairmont hotels, a classic overnight rail experience aboard Via Rail's Canadian, and scenic transfers between destinations. There's going to be ample time to experience winter your way, whether that's snowshoeing, shopping, soaking in Banff's famous hot springs. The options are really endless in the winter. But if you're interested in a similar route, but a more choreographed experience, you're going to want to consider our Canadian Rockies in winter itinerary. So this is a 10-day escorted tour, which means you're traveling with a small group of like-minded travelers and you're led by a professional tour manager. Much like the previous itinerary I talked about, you're going to begin in Vancouver and end in Calgary and spend time in the Canadian Rockies resort towns along the way. Some of my favorite highlights of this tour include a sightseeing tour of Vancouver, which gets you acquainted with that cosmopolitan city, and of course, the overnight rail journey on board the Canadian in a private cabin. So a guided ice walk across Moline Canyon and Jasper, a visit to frozen Lake Louise, and a guided tour of Banff offer all of our travelers a taste of winter in the Rockies on this itinerary. There's a really great balance between the planned activities that are included in the trip and free time on this tour, which means there's time for you to go off and enjoy a variety of seasonal activities that suit your needs and things that you may want to experience exclusively, like that sleigh ride around Lake Louise or skiing on your own. There's cross-country skiing and of course some ski slopes, downhill skiing nearby. So this trip then concludes in Calgary as well. So both of these wintertime Rockies experiences offer excellent amenities and experiences, but there is always an up button, and for an upgraded experience that covers more ground and offers more luxury, look no further than this trip, Luxury Rockies, featuring Via Rail's Prestige class. So this is an 11-day independent rail vacation, and it offers a great glimpse of what makes winter in Canada so special, beginning in the Canadian Rockies and traveling to Toronto. Some highlights of this trip is definitely that 3 days in exclusive Prestige class, where you'll be treated to the chef-prepared cuisine Ryan was talking about, luxurious sleeping accommodations, and breathtaking views on the route from Jasper to Toronto. Another highlight of this trip is an excursion to the frozen waters of Niagara Falls. So in addition to those extraordinary destinations, Jasper, Banff, Lake Louise, Toronto, this deluxe winter vacation is highlighted by private transfers between destinations, stays in 4- and 5-star hotels, and of course that Prestige class, and private touring throughout. This last vacation I want to share with you is so new. It's not even on our website yet. It is coming any day now, and I'm so thrilled to preview it to you right here. It's our exciting new rail vacation that marries the magic of winter in the Canadian Rockies with the amazing Northern Lights. So this Canadian Rockies and Northern Lights trip is a new independent rail vacation. It visits 2 national parks, Jasper and Banff. It has endless mountain scenes and of course some wonderful remote landscapes clad in that fluffy white snow. It's a 10-day trip that splits time between Alberta and the Yukon Territory. Here we're going to soak in naturally occurring hot springs surrounded by beautiful winter scenery in Banff. We're going to go on a winter wildlife viewing expedition in Jasper, and then we're going to connect the two national parks with a really scenic drive along the Icefields Parkway. And then from the Canadian Rockies, you journey west to Vancouver on board Via Rail's Canadian, where we're going to get an overnight, or where we're going to get a flight from Vancouver up to Yukon Territory, specifically Whitehorse, where we're going to have 3 nights at Southern Lake Resort with a little cabin on a lake. It's devoid of light pollution and perfect for seeing some northern lights. So these are just some of the unique winter adventures in the Canadian Rockies that Vacations by Rail offers. Each are going to showcase the beauty of the season, the opportunity to dive into those immersive winter experiences, and of course have that cozy rail experience made even more idyllic by all of that winter scenery around you. So for all of our winter rail vacations, you can go to vacationsbyrail.com and you can find the itinerary that best meets your needs. So it's time for our second polling question, and I'm going to go ahead and launch that right now. It is, what winter experiences would you like to have? So our choices include wildlife spotting, a cozy rail experience, northern lights viewing, and outdoor activities like skating, ice walks, and sleigh rides. So I'll keep this open for about 20 more seconds and give everyone a chance to participate. All right. Looks like everyone has had a chance to log their answer with us. So I'm going to close the poll. And Ryan, and all of our attendees, it is so close. We have 35% of attendees that are looking for that cozy rail experience, and 33% are hoping to see some northern lights. And all the rest want the wildlife spotting and the outdoor activities. So I think winter in the Canadian Rockies is a real hit. Okay, so if you'd like to learn more about our winter rail vacations in the Canadian Rockies or any of our worldwide itineraries, you can request one of our brochures by calling 877-929-7245 or visit vacationsbyrail.com. And if you're ready to book, you can call any of our rail specialists toll free at that same number, 877-929-7245, or you can book online at vacationsbyrail.com. So now it is time for some questions, and I know we have several, so let's go ahead and get started. Oops, let's see. The first question is, when will the Northern Lights be on your website, that new Northern Lights trip? I anticipate that no later than next week. Let's see. First question, also Northern Lights related. Will I be guaranteed to see the Northern Lights on any of these trips? Well, I would say because the Aurora Borealis is part of nature, there are never guarantees. However, because our winter itineraries do depart during the optimal window to see the Northern Lights, and they're going to places like Jasper and the Yukon Territory and places that are devoid of light pollution, chances are good. Ryan, Rebecca, you mentioned also being able to see the Northern Lights from the train. Is that, what are the chances of that?
I think you kind of already answered that. I think the few times that I've seen them probably is November, December, and it really comes down to the sky being dark enough and then clear, and then of course the aurora dancing. I grew up in Edmonton, which is in northern Alberta, and it's fairly common, but you're right, it does, it's Mother Nature is in control, so anything can happen, but the winter season is the best time to see them for sure.
Great. Okay, so we have a number of questions about the train and about the destination. So I'm going to try to keep these all in order for you. Does the train take into account my dietary requirements?
Excuse me. Yeah, the answer is yes. So just make sure you let the Vacations by Rail team know what those restrictions may be. And the fact that we do have chefs on board the train, they definitely can be creative if needed. But it's really important that we have the proper ingredients on the train before the train leaves. And that's why we just need to know in advance what those restrictions would be, and we can accommodate pretty much anything.
Great. Is there a special holiday meal on the train? I'm presuming if you travel over Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, it's a pretty specific window, but the last 2 weeks of December, basically, we would have a Christmas meal on the train. But other than that, it would just be the regular menu, excuse me, for the rest of the year.
Okay. Is alcohol included with my meals on the train?
Only if you're in prestige class. So in Sleeper Plus, the alcoholic beverages are pretty much the only thing that you're going to pay for on the train. I did forget to mention when we depart Vancouver and Jasper and Toronto, we do have a bon voyage or a kickoff kind of reception to welcome everybody on board the train, which does include sparkling wine. But prestige class is the only fully inclusive class of service on the Canadian.
Okay, perfect. On the train, is the lounge car open 24/7?
Yeah, so the dome and the car itself is open 24/7. Just keep in mind that the car is serviced from 6:30 in the morning until 11 p.m. So that would mean coffee service, etc. And then the bar service typically runs from 11 in the morning until 11 at night.
Perfect. Let's see. For Travel Alberta, how can I get access to the Banff Hot Springs?
To the Banff Hot Springs, so they're located about a 5-minute drive up from the Banff Springs Hotel. So easiest way up there, if you don't have your own car, is just taking a cab. It's generally $10 anywhere you go in town, and that would be the best way to go in.
Fantastic. If I can only pick one, Ryan Elliott, this is perfect for you. If I can only pick one, which is best, Johnston Canyon or Mullane Canyon for an ice walk?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's I think I would probably go Mullane over Johnson, just with the fact that you're actually on that frozen water and traveling up through the canyon, and the guides up there are phenomenal as well. So I think if I could only choose one, I would do Mullane. Yes.
Okay, that's good. I've done that one. That's great. I enjoyed that. Do I need to pack anything special if I want to snowshoe or take a winter hike?
So I would recommend just even those little rubber cleats that go over your shoes would be great. So the hiking trails get pretty well used, especially in Jasper, in Banff, and in Lake Louise. So they're normally pretty packed down. So I would just definitely take those. And then in terms of snowshoeing or cross-country skiing, I wouldn't even bother coming with those. You could rent those at multiple different places, right at the shore of the Chateau Lake Louise, at the Jasper Park Lodge, or in town in Banff, Jasper, or Lake Louise. So for hiking, those little cleats, and then for any of the other activities, you can just easily rent all of that, and that includes skates as well.
Perfect. And then we have time for one more question. Our fares paid in Canadian dollars, and I'll take that one. All of the prices on Vacations by Rail's website are in US dollars. We are a US company. Oh, I'll do one more. Our tips included. Tips are not included, so gratuities are additional. We do have many more questions, but we are running short on time. So I assure you that your questions will be answered either by myself or a rail specialist. If there's anything specific to Via Rail or Travel Alberta, we'll certainly loop them in as well. So I would like to thank you for joining us to learn more about why winter in the Canadian Rockies is best. I hope that this has inspired you to take a winter rail vacation with us. And I will turn this over to both of the Ryans for their closing remarks.
Well, yeah, just thanks, Lynn, and thanks to everyone for taking the time to join us today. I know everyone's got busy lives, so yeah, really appreciate it. I hope that sparks some interest in your rail journeys in the future, and we look forward to welcoming you into the Canadian Rockies soon.
Yeah, and I'll just echo that. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you found it informative, and you really can't go wrong planning a trip to Alberta in the winter. I personally think it's one of the best times to be there. You really get to experience the beauty a little bit more intimately than you would any other time of the year, and that also is the same on board the train. So I hope in the near future we'll all have a chance to welcome you on board.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.